Oh,
we might need to.
oh. We're on the side.
We're defying gravity.
Oops.
All right, it looks like things have gone sideways here. Like double click it, that little round one.
This one?
Yeah. There you go. Hi everyone.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
Working out the bugs. Hi guys.
Anson, Max, Chiprat say hello. Love the Sadia.
Hi Debbie Sue. Hi Lori Saber.
Hi Debbie.
Hi Silver Gold and John. Nice to see everyone here. So, I guess you probably know this is our first live stream. So, yeah, we thought you might like that, John. Yeah, so welcome. Let us know if the audio's okay, if you can hear us. If not, we'll speak up a little bit. And we'll turn down our furnace too. It's kind of roaring in the background. We intended to use our Rode mics, but I guess we need a proprietary adapter to go into our iPhone, and we had the wrong one, so we'll just have to kind of wing it on this one.
Yep.
You get
You're just fine? Okay. Stay
Yeah.
steady.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here with us. This is exciting.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
So you can probably see that things looked a little bit different in person than they did on the last video. So we're quite a bit further ahead. Like most creators, our content lags quite a bit. And a lot of our projects haven't been edited and published yet. And so it's definitely not as messy and bad as it looks in the last video.
Yeah, we're quite a ways behind, so.
Our deck is an absolute wreck on that one for sure.
Yeah, we'll show you guys around here in a minute once we kind of break the ice here.
Yes.
Lori asked us to speak a little louder.
Talk loud. Is that better?
Sound not great. Are you able to widen the screen? We had it in the other rotation, but it was it looked sideways on our screen.
On the computer.
Yeah, it was vertical. So nice to see you too, Ian. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, hi Eric.
Hi Eric. Hi Barbara.
Yeah, so just feel free to ask any questions that you may have with what's going on with the boats, with fishing. If we're going to be having fish available this year, we'll answer some of those questions a little bit later on, but if you just have any random questions, just feel free to ask, okay? Hi, Stuart.
Hi Richard.
Oh, hey, Robert. I thought you were in Kodiak. Did you live here before?
Hi Bazuki. Hi Bran.
Rose Garcia asks, any jigging videos coming up soon?
Jigging videos. We will be fishing soon. Hopefully in the next week or two. we've just been trying to get things wrapped up on this big boat, and so we can take it out for our state water jig fishery. It's hard to say. There's quite a bit of quota right now. It can start going quickly, but the price is really depressed this year, so that's slowing things down some. I don't know how much you guys know about the commercial fishing industry in Alaska, but it is quite simply put enormous. Billions and billions of pounds are landed every year in Alaska through a lot of different fisheries and a lot of different gear types. In our town alone, Kodiak, over 500 million pounds of seafood passes our docks every year. So it's a staggering amount of fish that's in the round, unprocessed. And so the price is pretty poor this year, so that's kind of slowed down the jig fishery, I think. Otherwise, it'd probably be going faster. But the landings are starting to pick up, the catch rate is starting to pick up, so that's helping guys out some.
How about the weather?
Yeah, and the weather plays a big factor too, because most of the jig boats are smaller vessels. Some seiners participate, but I don't think anybody really over 58 foot participates in the jig fishery unless fishing is really, really good and the price is decent. Right now with the insurance and the fuel and everything else, it's a pretty thin profit margin if you don't have a very, very economical type operation.
Yeah, especially you have to get crew on and everything, and that's another thing is you don't just support yourself, you support your crew too, so
Yep.
that's a big part of it. That pretty hard to get guys right around this time of year.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different variables that kind of go into that. I guess we're lucky that we're just a small family operation, so we don't have to worry about crew. It's easier for us in terms of expenses and everything. And so, yeah, so hopefully we'll be fishing soon.
We got a few questions here from Bren Key. Would love another catch and cook video. We'd love to do another cook and clean video for you guys. Not sure which one it'll be, but maybe some cod.
Did I cut that teeth?
And then also Cindy was wondering if we were gonna do salmon seine this year.
I don't think we will seine this year. We still need to gear this vessel up to seine, so we need to add a main boom, a picking boom, quite a bit of infrastructure to set it up. We were hoping that maybe we could get the little boat out and do some, but right now our biggest barrier, I guess, and we can kind of touch on this a little bit, is that custom processing is really hard to come by in Kodiak. When we first started back in 2016 direct marketing our fish, a direct market fisherman is someone that sells only their catch to individuals or wholesale or whatever their markets might be. But in order to legally sell our processed fish, it has to be processed in an approved, inspected facility. And when we first started, we had a really good relationship with one of the local processors that was doing our custom processing for us. And then COVID came along, and as the labor pool started to tighten up and people didn't want to come to work, processing got to be really hard. They focus on their fish first and their fishermen, and then if they have time and they have folks to work, then they'll do custom processing. So that's kind of the boat we're in. Since then, those guys actually stopped custom processing in 2021, I think. That was the last year that they cut fish for us, and we started using kind of our backup custom processor, but they're an even smaller plant with more limited resources, especially in terms of space and labor. and so it's really just kind of exacerbated the problem for us. So last year was especially frustrating. I know a lot of you folks pre-ordered halibut from us, and we brought a load in, and they didn't get processed in a timely manner, and so we basically just had to refuse the load, I guess you could say, and that threw off our schedule, and it was frustrating to have to contact people and let them know, that we couldn't fulfill your orders like we had promised. It was, everybody was really understanding.
Yeah. The timeline was just really long on that.
Yeah, everybody was really understanding, but it was still frustrating from our viewpoint. And so normally these guys get really busy during the summer, and as more fishermen have kind of moved into the direct marketing type operation, that's also put a lot more pressure on their resources. And what happens is they get behind and they just can't catch up, and quality suffers. And so when we first started doing our direct marketing, that was one thing that we were always concerned about, was that ability to get our fish processed, and the reliance on other plants, other companies to do that for us. And that was really the biggest driving factor behind buying another boat, and this one in particular.
Yeah.
So you can touch on that some more, so I don't have to do all the talking.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about what we have in store, I guess. Kind of more excited to get that closer connection to you as our customers, and be able to just have hands on the fish itself the whole time. So I guess go to the next bit, I suppose.
Yeah.
What we have planned.
Yeah, so we bought this boat in 2021, and we knew that there'd be a ton of work that it needed. It's kind of like the saying goes, it's in good shape, it's in great shape, it's been lightly used. Well, as commercial fishermen, we pretty much know that means that everything's going to need to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
And
not entirely sure we expected a 3-year project span, but kind of like the more you dig in, the more you find, and it's just kind of stuff that you have to tackle while you're there.
yeah,
So,
it was a lot easier to do it now as opposed to shut down later and then have to go back into things and dig into things. Sometimes it's hard to find a point where you can just stop and end a project and then pick it up later without having to go back and tear out stuff that you already built, or it ends up getting, weathered or damaged in the meantime because it's not done completely. And that was the nice thing about having our little boat, is that we could still, have a means of income while we worked on this one. And so I think that we just kind of added to the scale as we went along. There's a lot of stuff that we knew that we would need to do, but there's also a lot of extra stuff that we've done. And I think at this point we've gone through just about every nut and bolt and fastener and fitting on this boat, and so that gives us great peace of mind as far as the reliability of it. Commercial vessels are used extremely heavily and abused, and the conditions, the weather and the sea, they're unrelenting, and so when things break, they tend to have things go south very quickly, let's put it that way. Little things can snowball into huge things, a bad fuel filter because you've got a dirty fuel tank can plug a fuel filter, you can lose power. It only happens when you're going around the Cape in a big storm, and that's how things snowball and turn into very big accidents. And so it's good to go through all that stuff.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and have good peace of mind and everything.
Yep,
Yep.
come a long ways, even the shaft, how rusty it was, and all those rusty bolts and everything. We knew that was one of the top ones that we needed to replace,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we would have undertaken the journey from Juneau to here had we known it was in such bad condition. But you know, of course, we took it out for a test drive and we ran it from Uno, where we bought the vessel, to Juneau, and I think that was like a 6-hour run, and so there was no vibration and everything felt good. So that was reassuring and everything. But once we got up here and actually cut into it, it was like, wow, that's pretty rough looking. So all that running gear is new and replaced now, and that's really good. Our fish holes are done. I think we can probably pop down there and show you here at some point.
Julie and having you guys hear each other, Dad always comes over the hailer. Yeah, so our radio on the fishtail, there's a hailer connected to the radio. He just talks into it and it outputs sound. And we'll probably have that same system on this one.
Actually, we do have the same system.
Yeah, I think we already got a radio with a hailer enabled. So it's a two-way. Dad can say we're set in halibut. I'll call out, you know, how deep are we right now? He'll call out 75 fathoms, and I'll just set 75 and say when I'm ready to drop the anchor. So we do that for many different fisheries. I'll call out when to drop the crab pod or when to drop the jiggers. Let's see what else.
Glory Bowl asks if we're going to plant a garden this year.
Hopefully, yeah. I'd like to. We planted taters last year, but it was like a bad year for planting. Like everybody's plants were stunted last year.
Yeah.
So our taters really didn't even sprawl, I don't think. They just kind of grew a little bush and just kind of, yeah, it was a bad year for planting.
It was definitely disappointing.
Yeah.
So this is a loud hailer right here. So this is a combination microphone and speaker. We'll mount it back here somewhere in the shelter deck when we're halibut fishing. And then the rest of the time we'll probably move it and put it up forward somewhere. And so the VHF radio that we have that we use to contact other boats or speak with the Coast Guard, that also has an option for a hailer. And so you can just hit that option, and then when you speak into the microphone, it broadcasts through the loud hailer. So this is basically what it looks like. These come in a couple of different sizes and varieties. The one on the fishtail is a little bit smaller. You probably haven't seen it because it's kind of mounted up high. It kind of needs to be moved to the back.
It could almost be a bigger one.
Yeah.
Really, because it's a bit hard to hear sometimes.
Yeah, this is a better quality for sure than
Yep.
the small one that we have, and I kind of wish that we'd gone with this one first. But yep, that's what it looks like.
Philip
Guidelines.
McCombie's,
Thanks, Bree.
you see Philip McCombie's question?
I'm behind on the chat. Go ahead.
Matt, how many pounds of fish can you store on the Emerald Isle compared to the fishtail?
Well, that's the big question. So we got the crab pump hooked up on here and flooded the center hole to test it, and I think it took around 20 minutes to fill, and we figured maybe around 40,000 pounds ish.
Yeah.
35. We didn't exactly time it. That was an afterthought, but so we're thinking hopefully around 35, 40 in the main hold. And compared to the fish hold, our center and two forwards can hold 13 of cod.
Yeah, we've had just a little over 13,000 of cod in our center and two front holds on the fishtail.
You'll have to come back here.
Yeah,
You're the disembodied voice right now.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll just plop down on this deal here.
There you go.
Yeah, so the center and the two forward holds on the fishtail hold about 13 to 14,000 pounds. Salmon, it's a little bit more, and cod and rockfish is right in that area. So it looks like the main hold on the Emerald Isle will be probably twice that, easily.
Yeah, quite a bit bigger.
So it should hold around 35,000 of cod, and then the back hold probably another 15,000. So somewhere in there, I think we're probably right in the range of 45,000 total for the boat. Yet to be seen. It's always kind of hard to like cube out a fish hole like that because of the sides, the slope on the sides, and it's not completely a square box down there. So it's a little bit tricky, but it's right in that area. Usually you go off about 50 pounds a cubic foot is what seafood generally stores at on a fishing vessel, and that's kind of the number that we use on that.
I'll do it.
So RLB asks, will you have to remove your hard top over the aft section when you? Will you have to remove your hard top over the aft section when you install booms via shelter deck?
Yes. So say for salmon fishing, this would be off because this is where the net goes, and you need to be able to stack it. It just drops down kind of vertically when it comes through your seine block. It's really quite easy. If I guess we can show people around. Can we show people around?
Yeah, sure.
Without it being too weird. So we'll just kind of show you around here. What am I looking at, T?
It's delayed on ours,
Is that?
so you should be. I think you're in frame there.
Okay, so this is one of the legs of the shelter deck, and it just has a clamp on here to hold it. There's a small plate. So we have some material that's just going to saddle over this, and this pole will be welded to it, and then a single bolt going through each one, 5/8 or 3/4 inch, probably a 5/8 bolt, and it'll just secure that. So just one bolt to remove on each leg, and the whole thing can come off. It'll be nice and easy.
Yeah, be a super simple removal.
Yeah, and then this forward part too. I don't know if we've never really talked about this, but this framework and this covering up here is on here because this was set up to freeze salmon. And so on a boat that processes their catch, you have to have a covered area to be in compliance with
Let me rotate.
ADEC.
That'll be a little easier then to
Yeah.
see.
To be in compliance with ADEC, which is Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation, and they oversee our food safety and seafood industry. And so to be in compliance, you have to have a covered area where you're processing fish. So that's why this is here. It's also quite easy to remove. There's just a single pin up forward that comes out, and then these poles on the side just sleeve in. So you basically just take the tarp off, fold it up, roll it up, whatever, and then you can remove the rest of the framing. So that's all really simple. It'll be easy to take on and off. And that's kind of what we're setting everything up, is to be exactly that, is to be able to remove it easily and put it back on easily without, a bunch of, heavy lifting, a bunch of extra work. And so that's how we've always kind of modeled things. Same with the fishtail. To put our long line reel on and off is a very quick process. The gear's really easy to put on. The jig machines just drop into a socket on the rail, so it just takes minutes to mount this stuff. And that makes it easy to switch over from different fisheries. And that's one reason that we went ahead and started and got our bulwark set up now, was because everything kind of like integrates into these. Our shelter deck will just drop right onto here and bolt. We'll have a set of rails that will do the same thing. They'll just have just a saddle that goes over the top of here, and the railings will be welded to that, so we can easily remove the railings for like seining. Oh yeah, and so we can easily remove the rails for seining or other fisheries where we don't need the rails. And then also our jig machines can just drop into sockets on that. So this is a really good foundation. You guys probably remember what the old rails looked like. They were pretty rough. Actually, they're pretty rotten and falling apart. And not to mention they were really low. The back, this would be the level of the black trim in the rails before. And so even without the deck, they were extremely low. And now, you know, this is a safe height if you're seining. This is pretty standard. A lot of seiners actually are much lower. And then for any fishery that we're fishing out on the open ocean and heavy weather or swells, we'll have rails that'll be up here waist high, so it makes it very safe.
So we want to thank everybody for being with us. As long as you have all people that have been with us all along the whole time, our journey, and the new people that are with us too. I just was reading some of the comments, and one of them is from Scott55, who says, I ran into your channel when y'all first started, probably a few videos into it, but to be honest, I have not missed a video and will not.
Yeah, we sure appreciate you guys sticking with us all this time.
There's an awful lot of names that we recognize that, you know, go way, way back to the beginning.
We can't thank you enough for sticking with us, and we're so excited to show you more.
Yeah, Gold VP, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Kevin Kumpolt, thanks for joining us. We will be using the same reel on this boat for now. We'll probably build a bigger one later.
John Pierce says, LOL, I've been here so long, Matt tried to scrape me off like barnacle. LOL.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us all the time. We really appreciate it.
And all your comments too. Our hearts are full.
Yeah, I wish we could take you guys outside, but our weather is kind of crummy today. It's snowing and maybe raining now. It's just kind of gone back and forth today. So we're just in our nice little cozy shelter. We've been pretty blessed that this thing has lasted as long as it has. I don't know if you guys ever need a good covering for anything, but this is Mr. Shrink is what it's called. It's a shrinkable plastic, and it just comes in a roll. It's like 25 feet wide and then however long, 100-foot roll. But here we can just buy it by the foot. And it's loose like this when you put it up, and then you hit it with a torch. We use our weed burner. You have to be careful not to melt it, but then it just tightens up like a drum. And this thing has weathered some brutal storms over the last couple of years.
Yeah, you can see how many mods we've made. It used to have a bunch of 2x4s running up and down it, but you can see that we've downsized it since and trimmed the legs. And when we raised this shelter deck up, actually, we had to extend those legs down so our plastic wasn't flapping around.
Yeah, pretty much all these holes and cuts are from us. Hit it with a grinder right here when we were trimming something. Right here is when we trim this leg to get it straight to add on the extension. So it's really durable stuff. So if you ever have, you know, a lot of people cover them with boats here. You can winterize your boat with it. It works really good for that. There, you know, a car, whatever you need to keep dry and protect long term. This is the stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, this has been a good workspace over the last couple years. The other thing that was really advantageous right away for us was to get a good oil-fired forced air furnace. These are the ones that you would see. They're really common in Alaska in mobile homes up here, and that's what this came out of. And so it's just like a small oil-fired boiler, except it's forced air, and it heats this area up, you know, in minutes, really, and does a really good job. It's pretty efficient considering our lack of insulation and our drafty workspace, but it's kept us warm through some really chilly days, some some 10-degree days, which is really cold for Kodiak, and that's been nice to have. So that's another good thing if you ever get your hands on that. If you're doing a project and you need to heat a space efficiently, look for something like that. Super easy.
Yeah.
Look up and run.
It saved us.
It has saved us for sure. Right?
Yep.
We'd be way further behind than we are now with that.
Yeah, you really can't do fiberglass work when it's that cold. 50 degrees is probably about the coldest you ever want to try and apply fiberglass to anything. And your results may or may not be good at that temperature.
Yeah, you get the cold temps, and then you also get the humidity, and that's a real killer
The
too.
humidity is a big problem.
It makes your fiberglass take forever to kick off. It stays kind of like gummy.
Yeah.
So the heat is definitely a big plus. Gerald Herman, why don't you guys wear a life jacket when fishing? You know Murphy's Law, and you're not wrong. They do make some pretty decent, like, low-profile ones nowadays. So I mean, you're not wrong. So we may look into that. Tracy Lynn, everything's coming along so beautifully. Thank you.
Does Matt from Philip McCumby, does Matt ever drive the boat? I know he is capable.
I don't drive the boat. I have driven the fishtail a couple of times, but I do need to get some practice for sure.
Well, rephrased, have you ever like taken it for a fishing trip on your own, maybe? Matt does drive the boat, same as Anita and Tristan. We all take wheel watches when we're traveling. But generally, I guess when we're fishing, it's me driving the boat, or maybe just somebody running to the next string. Anita will kind of like pilot the vessel if we're out back cutting fish or whatever.
Hold on, guys. Sorry.
Don't mean to make you dizzy.
There we go. Somewhere in there. You're on the gimbal.
And Matt has docked the fishtail and stuff. And Anita refuses to. She'll drive a big, huge, long school bus, but she won't drive a little sporty boat.
I'm on solid ground. I like to know what's under me.
So oddly enough, the Emerald Isle steers and parks extremely well. I think it actually has a tighter turning radius than the fishtail, especially if the fishtail is light. It does not like to turn that easily. When it's loaded, it's much better. It has a lot of side drift when it's empty, and so that can be a challenge when it's windy and you're pulling into your slip. The Emerald Isle, on the other hand, is a very heavy boat, and it's got a huge rudder, and it just, it drives like a dream. It's so easy to turn around and spin. You don't get a lot of side drift. The wind, when it hits you, it does move you, but not as quick. So it's a little easier to handle, I think.
Mm-hmm. Robert Taylor, you're going on a cruise from Europe to Port Canaveral. Have a good trip. See you next month.
Yeah.
Do you ever do a video of your home to boat kind of day? No, we don't, but that's a pretty good idea, Montreal Colt. Gold VP, lol, you flipped us? I did. Cactus Mees, please say my name.
So I think that we're probably going to start doing some more live streaming in the future. We're actually, our connection right now is through Starlink, so we have Starlink on our vessel now. We got one, I guess it was last spring for the fishtail. Yeah, and so we're right next door, so we're just mooching off the Starlink on there. You can click your mode on that too.
Cameraman,
Oh, man.
you're about to get fired.
As a new gimbal, I can't help it.
Yeah,
Matt's trying
it's all
to.
new.
Trying to get you guys out a little further from my face.
Yeah, so I think that
Hold on, guys.
we'll probably do some streaming in the future. Bring you guys out there live.
It might be the cable too that's interfering.
Well, if you change that, then it's just the gimbal thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, otherwise it follows you. I think that was just keeps the horizon even now, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's something that we'd like to do more of and get a little more content out there. Give you probably a little more, a better glimpse of our daily life on the boat. It's pretty simple. We just wake up in the morning and usually throw some coffee on and maybe sit around and have a little breakfast, get fired up, pull the anchor, cruise out to the grounds. Summertime we get up really early, usually around 4:30, maybe even 4, depending on how far we have to travel, but we like to be on the grounds daylight. So sometimes our mornings are really early, and as a result, sometimes our nights are kind of late too. A lot of times, Alaska time, it'll still be 11 o'clock at night, and so a lot of times our days will just stretch. We don't really mean them to, but it'll be 11 o'clock and we'll be shutting down and motoring back to a spot to anchor up, which could take anywhere from half an hour to an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah.
So sometimes we pull in and drop the hook at midnight and get up in the morning and do it again. So some long days.
Are you gonna get more cooking videos from Matt and T? Yes, definitely. How's the price of salmon looking this year? Not sure, Lane. What's that, T?
We need to do more catch, clean, and cook.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a couple of years.
What are you gonna do with a fishtail when you start fishing with the Emerald Isle? We'll still use the fishtail. We'll probably stay on the same boat. We likely won't operate them at the same time. Especially once we move forward with this boat, it'll be a little easier to kind of do different things at the same time. So say we're long lining on a fishtail or jigging on this one or vice versa. That's kind of the plan, is to be able to quickly do things on their own without much gear swapping around.
Scott 55 says we definitely need to do more live streams because then we can get to know you better. And yeah, we agree.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one nice thing about having the Starlink now, is that we have unlimited data. Before, with just our regular cell phones, our data plan was limited, so it's pretty easy to scarf up our allowable upload time and stuff. So Starlink has really been a blessing for us, especially on the boat, because it works everywhere around the island, and the service is really incredibly good. I can FaceTime Anita now if she's home, if she stays in town. I can get on the computer and do any work that I need to on the internet, and then of course now we can live stream. So that's really cool. So that's a bit of a game changer for us. So we'll definitely have more of that in the future, kind of as we get set up. We'll try and get some better gear, especially for microphone and stuff. I think we're gonna get what is
DJI.
it? DJI.
Yeah, we're gonna
mic.
swap over those. We have good Rode mics. We actually picked up an adapter that was gonna go into the phone, but it wasn't the right kind. It needs like a proprietary kind that will interface with the phone. So unfortunately, we're just on the iPhone today. iPhone mic, that is. But yeah, looking forward to some better DJI mics because they interface with this gimbal, and this thing's actually pretty impressive. We'll have to show you guys on a YouTube video or something, but it's neat. So definitely kind of try and do more of these kind of things, little live stream now and then, and maybe some more shorts, different
Can you hear us
video
okay?
formats.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Matt.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Wow, there's like 162 watching us. That blows me away. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you, guys.
Lyle Hall, what kind of speeds on speed test? On this Starlink, it's like 100 MB up, 10 MB down. Or no, 15 MB up and like 50 MB down. So pretty good. We're able to upload and download a lot faster nowadays, which is pretty nice. before we had to go up to our library and use their connection to upload our YouTube videos. And if we did use our home one, it was
Over 24
DSL.
hours.
Yeah, some of our videos would take over 24 hours to upload at home. So yeah, it's a lot nicer now.
Yeah, and so we also have Starlink at home. We got rid of our landline internet service and went with Starlink instead. And it probably takes like less than about an hour, I guess, to do a video, or a little bit more.
Hour or two. About
Hour or
that
two.
for our usual lengths, yeah.
Yeah.
For a 20-minute video, I think it's like an hour and a half. So pretty good.
Yeah, so pretty happy with it. It's been good.
I just want to say we're getting a lot of questions, and if we miss yours, we're not ignoring you.
That's right.
We just go in depth on the answers sometimes, and it scrolls past.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll back up and catch a few years.
Yeah.
So if you need to ask again, then you can ask again.
Yeah, just throw it out there
exactly.
again. Our chief editor knows that we tend to ramble on quite a bit, and some of you probably know that too.
Yeah, poor mom has to scrub through it all, so.
One question that I know a lot of people have asked is, how do we clean underneath this deck? Well, the simple answer is we don't. There's no way to pick up this deck. We have a couple of parts that we can easily lift on and off to get to our backfish hold, our back tankage compartment where our fuel and water tanks are, and then also our lazarette. We'll show you here in a little while, I guess. As far as the deck itself goes, it's all bolted down, and it would take days to unbolt it. There's somewhere around 1,200 bolts in this deck, I think. So the way we keep it clean is just with draining ports on the side of the hull, so that helps flush stuff out. You keep a hose running on deck. You wash down all the time. We've got a 3-inch crab pump on here, and we'll have a 2-inch deck hose, so that's going to move probably well over 100 gallons a minute of water. So you hit something with that much water, it just pretty much just flushes everything out. And then whenever you're traveling and it's rough and everything, there's a lot of water coming in through the scuppers, blasting up through the deck, and that keeps it clean. And then if things start if we have small enough gaps in our boards that like big chunks won't go down there and get caught, like guts and stuff. And that all gets thrown over when we're cleaning fish anyways. And so really it's just blood and slime, and that's easy to rinse off if you keep your deck wet and you keep it rinsed down and don't let it dry. So false decks are really common on fishing boats in Alaska, just not so much smaller ones. But this one's big enough to justify it, and we put it on for a couple of different reasons. Number one, this deck is a lot wetter than the fishtail. The fishtail is so light that it courts up and over the waves, and rarely, if ever, do we get water that comes over the rail and ends up on deck, even through our scuppers. This boat is heavy, and so it sits differently in the water, and it rides differently. And so when you're in a big swell, it tends to dip a little bit more, and the deck is wet as a result. And so a lot of times on crab boats, you'll see, a wave roll by and you'll see the water jet up between the deck boards. That's more like this boat will be. And we'll probably have some water come over the rails at some point. And so that's the nice thing about a false deck, is that it gets you out of the deep part of that water, and it just allows that water to almost instantly drain through the false deck and out the scuppers. And so that was one big reason. Another is our deck has a lot of crown to it. And so if you measured it from the center of the boat to one side, there's about a 6-inch drop. And that's only over like 7.5 feet. And so on the sides, it's got a lot of crown, a lot of slant, and it's very uncomfortable to stand at the rail. You always feel like you're tipping over, like you want to fall over the side, and so it's very uncomfortable. It's hard on your ankles to stand on something like that all day, and so having a flat deck with really good traction is important.
Yep.
So that's a couple of reasonings behind the false deck, and then other things too, like if we if and when we do crab on here, having a flat deck, it's much easier to push pots on. We'll be fishing bigger pots than our small cone pots. We have some 5.5 square pots that we'll be fishing on here. And so having a nice flat deck that you can push your pots on. This plastic is slippery for pushing steel on it compared to like fiberglass would be. If you had you'd have to have non-skid on there in order to not fall down all the time. And that stuff will just get all chewed up anyways, sliding pots over it. But this plastic is durable and it should hold up well for that. So that's kind of some reasonings behind that. We don't have smoked salmon, and for that matter, salmon at all. We do hope to start producing some salmon in the future. We'll rig this up to seine, like our little boat, and but not right now. So smoked salmon is kind of a complicated process just because it's not the same as smoking it at home. You really have to go a step above and beyond just normal processing of any kind of seafood products in Alaska. It either has to be in a shelf-stable retort or stay frozen because of the tendency for anything that's been vacuum sealed. It's an oxygen-deprived environment, which can lead to botulism. Same thing as canned salmon. So you have to be really, really careful when you smoke salmon that it is either shelf-stable, which means really reducing the moisture content and adding additives to make it that way, and putting it in a retort package, which basically means it's cooked and it kills bacteria and it stays sealed. So it's kind of an in-depth thing.
Yeah.
There are some guys that do it around here. Our small custom processor does it, so that might be an avenue for us in the future, but not right now.
Gold VP, gotta run. Thanks for hanging out, bud. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, great to see you, Gold VP. Appreciate you tuning in.
And no worries, Scott. We enjoy reading all comments, so no worries.
All good, all good.
Just curious about your engineering knowledge. Is it from a formal education or years of experience, or blended both? The one that Isabel asks.
Just years of experience.
Yeah. Tons of YouTube. It's like a wealth of knowledge on YouTube.
Yeah, we really do use YouTube as a huge source of information. So if there's things that we don't understand or need to get a better grasp on, or maybe some different points of view, that's our go-to is YouTube. We do a lot of research on our projects before we tear into things, and that's a really, really good source of information that we rely on. And then of course just scouring the internet before we take on projects. That's usually what we do. But as far as just what we know and how to work on this stuff, it's just really just an accumulation of knowledge over 30 years, I guess. We've had the fishtail for 24 years now, and we've done a lot of stuff to it. We don't have any videos or any footage of it really. We have a few pictures, but it's kind of the same thing. We've gone through pretty much everything on that little boat over the years, and some stuff needs to be revisited again and touched up and cleaned up, but everything we know is just from figuring it out basically, and I guess diving in and not being afraid to make mistakes, because we do make them. We make a lot of mistakes, but that's how you learn. That's how you figure things out.
Go get us saying you don't have sound. Can you guys hear us?
Can you guys still hear us?
Sound is good with
Sound
cable
is good?
guy.
Okay. All right, I think we're just talking quietly because we're way back there, and also the furnace just popped on, so. Sounds good? Okay. Cool. Dan Smith, Kim and I just got in, going to watch the replay tonight. Wind is up in San Diego, so we're not fishing. Great to see you folks on. The deck looks great. Many thanks, Dan.
So one thing that we did want to touch on too is that we're going to start a Kickstarter campaign. And we just kind of wanted to introduce it a little bit, maybe get some feedback from you folks and see what you think. And so basically we talked about our problems with having our product custom processed and the availability of those services in Kodiak. That is the biggest thing that's hamstringing our fishing operation, and really the biggest threat to our livelihood is to not have that service available and be able to get our catch filleted, frozen, and shipped to people across the U.S. A lot of you guys have been buying our fish from us for years now, and we really appreciate that, and we want to continue doing that, and also to expand those markets. And so that is the reason that we bought this boat, was to set it up and custom process our catch, which means that we're going to be handling that fish from the time it comes out of the water until the time we put it in a box and give it to the guy at UPS. And we have totally control over our product, and everything is on us as far as the quality, and that's the way we want it.
And we want to be able to show you all how we process it and get it cut up and put in packages and get them all sealed up. And
Yeah, I think it'll make some excellent content for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, people have asked us before if we could go into the plant and do that, and you know, it's just hard to go in there with the camera. You know, a lot of these people don't want to be on camera, they're shy, and some of the plants won't allow it anyways. They don't want you filming on their premises, so it's just kind of,
And this gives us complete control.
yeah, so now we can share that. So going back to the Kickstarter campaign, so what we're doing is we're trying to raise funds, and we're looking for backers that want to help support our project. And so basically what we need to do is get a hatch-mounted blast freezer, and that will allow us to freeze our fish at -20 degrees and hold it at -20 until we ship it to you. We're already going through the permitting process as far as getting inspected, and we've got a good game plan in place for that. We already have some of the equipment, like the vacuum sealer. We've got a big vacuum sealer, so that's all taken care of. But our biggest expense is getting a blast freezer. They're not cheap at all. And so we're looking to do a Kickstarter campaign, and it's more of a crowdfunding type app, where instead of like GoFundMe, where you're kind of just like a charity, you're just giving people money out of the goodness of your heart. You're not expecting anything in return. There's no way to like reward people for their donations. This is separate. This is more of funding a project and getting something out of it. And so we're going to have quite a few different reward tiers, from just a basic, you know, pledge $1 or whatever, shout out on YouTube or our social media, to having some sticker packs, hats like this but much nicer and new, some t-shirts, and then of course our share boxes, our seafood share boxes. So excuse me, rockfish and cod that we're essentially pre-selling. And the reason that we're doing it through a Kickstarter campaign is that it's an all-in type funding thing. So if you don't meet your goal, nobody is charged, and basically you're not funded the campaign. And so, as opposed to pre-selling our seafood and doing pre-sales like we have in the past, our worry is that if we do pre-sales and we don't get enough money together to purchase our equipment, then we'll have to refund you your money, and there's a fee involved in that. It's a $3 or a 3% processing fee. So every time we have to refund an order for whatever reason, it costs us 3% of that transaction. And so that can add up very quickly. And so we thought that we'd do a Kickstarter instead, and the rewards will be different things. If you want a t-shirt or a hat, it's basically a small profit for us. And then our seafood is basically priced the same as if you just bought it from us anyways. And so we just want to throw that out there and kind of see what type of support we have for it. And as we go a little bit closer here, probably in a week or so, we'll be announcing the launch of it, and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. A couple
This is really the best way that we can ensure getting fish to, you know, all of our customers and friends and family in the future. It's become impossible to rely on a custom processor. And as they go into the summer, that's their busy season. All the charter sport fishing people, they just swamp the plant, and you can just forget about getting anything done if you need custom processing services as a commercial fisherman.
Yeah. So this will be processing on the boat. We're not opening a land-based plant.
Right, this isn't brick and mortar, this is strictly on our boat, which gives us the ability, you know, the advantages for us are just tenfold. So right now, the way commercial fishing in Alaska works is it's common practice to deliver within 3 days of your first fish coming on board. Thank you, cable guy. That's very kind.
Oh,
$20 super chat for the cable guy. Here's a start.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
very much.
So after the first fish comes on board, you've got 3 days to go to the processor. From that point, they offload you, and your fish could sit in a tote for another 2 or 3 days before they even process it. So in a lot of cases, the salmon that you're getting from Costco or Walmart or Big Best Foods or wherever, that could be already have 7 days on that fish. In contrast, if we're catching it and freezing on board, it's likely after it goes through the rigor mortis process, which may be 12 to 24 hours, that fish is going to be cut, it's going to be vacuum sealed, and it's going to be blast frozen. You cannot get any fresher. That's what we try to do with our rockfish under most circumstances, is we do day trips, we bring it in, we try and get it processed right away. Same thing with our halibut, but there is times that it might have to wait a day or two. If we're doing it on the boat, we won't have that problem.
and we can just be wherever we want to be when we process, right?
Yeah.
We can anchor out in the bays and stuff, or if the weather's bad.
That's another huge advantage for us, is what Anita just said, is that right now we're confined to a 3-day stretch. So when we put our first fish on, if the weather blows up a day and a half later and we know we can't get home in that 3-day period, we have to break that trip and come home early. So we're losing fishing time, we're losing running time, fuel, all of these types of things, and then we have to wait for the weather to come down and settle down enough to safely travel back to the grounds. Processing on board allows us to just forgo that. If it's going to blow 60, we go up into a hidey hole, we drop the hook and we hunker down and we cut fish. And when the weather breaks, we can go back out to the grounds. Usually the areas that we fish are okay even on the tail end of a storm, but traveling to them, it's not safe. It's not safe to get to the grounds until it lays down enough to travel safely. And so those are really big advantages there. We can stay out for longer than 3 days. So we have the ability to find fish and stay on fish. A lot of times when you haven't been fishing for a little while, or you get 5 or 6 days of bad weather and you're stuck in town, when you go back out there, the fish might be gone, and it takes you a day or two to find them, and then all of a sudden, you're 2 days into your trip and you've got a day of good fishing left and you gotta come home. Processing on board, that's not a problem. We just move around.
Getting them frozen and, right?
Yeah, they're frozen, so there's no problem. We can stay out for a month if we want.
Yeah.
So, and this vessel's designed to do that. We carry 400 gallons of fresh water and 1,200 gallons of fuel, so we can stay out a long time on this vessel. And so, so we just kind of wanted to get some feedback from you guys and let you know that this is how we're going to be offering our pre-sales for the short term right now, and just see if this happens. There is a bit of a lead time to get fish to you if this does work out and people fund us through our Kickstarter. We're looking at probably October to fulfill orders. That's just because by the time we get the freezer up here, there's I think it's a 8 to 12 week lead time to get the freezer built and sent up here and then to install it. So we're hoping if everything works out that we'd be fishing in September or early October. So that's kind of our timeline on that.
Yeah, and we'll have more on the Kickstarter. We'll put together a video to kind of explain that a little bit better and not so off the fly. But yeah.
Yeah, so here in a day or so, I'm going to put a link on this video with the Kickstarter. It'll take you just kind of to the page, the development page, and you guys can take a look at it if you want. If you have any feedback, you can leave it in the comment section on that page and let us know what you think, what we can change maybe to make it better. And then
Give us some more ideas.
and then we'll be launching it probably here within a week. And we'll just see where it takes us. So I think that's our best bet going forward right now. And yeah, we hope
we're
that
pretty
it
excited
works
for
out.
it. Yeah, we're really
Yeah.
excited. I think it'd be an amazing thing.
It's really going to change things for us as far as the amount of stress that we have right now. Because when we do a pre-sale, and even if it's a month or two out, we're on the hook to get that fish and get it into a processor and get it done. And with things the way that they're going in this town, that service is just kind of disappearing. And so it really puts a lot of stress on us in that regard. Having to rely on somebody else for your livelihood essentially puts you at risk like that.
For sure.
And so that's what we're trying to remove, and that's just gonna just allow us to enjoy fishing even that much more and just work together as a family and not be constrained by weather and time.
And
And
take care
rely
on
of
other
us.
people.
Yeah, and of course the best part is you guys get to come along too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Straw Carpenter.
Thank you.
Thanks. $20.
I always
Super
thought
chat.
this is what you need. I'm in. Thanks. Yeah, we're
Thank you.
so very excited for it. I hope we can get it all together. Like I said, we'll get a video together for you guys to kind of explain it better and stuff.
Yeah, Scott 55 has a great point that will save a lot. That's absolutely true, and that savings that in time we can kind of like push back to our customers. When we first started having custom process done, it was $2 a pound. Now we're at $4 a pound. So it's doubled in the course of about 6 years. And so that is a very big factor in it.
Yeah, there's also a lot of little time savings too, like come to town, delivering, cleaning up, and leaving again. That's like an entire day on a good day. It's usually more like 2 days. So like we'll be able to save loads of time by cutting it ourselves, cutting the fish ourselves
Yeah.
out in the ocean.
It also allows us to go further around the island to new places, different places. If you look at black rockfish, for example, that's a fishery that's managed by area around the island. The furthest area that we fish is a 12-hour run one way, and so we have to just kind of charge down there. We get the fish and we charge back. We look for a good weather window, 2 days minimum, and hope everything works out. That's a lot of stress when you're running constantly like that and traveling and trying to catch as much fish in a short amount of time, yet still take care of them in the best manner possible to give the best quality. So just all of that stuff allows us to fish easier and focus more on quality, how we land the fish, how we bleed them, how we take care of them before they're processed, and then of course processing them right away and getting them frozen. So we're really excited about it, and like I say, that's why we bought this vessel. This did originally have a freezer unit on it. It was somewhat antiquated. Most of the parts were good. It was in good working order. But the biggest problem, and most of you guys may have seen the video where we removed the evaporator from the fish hold, is that's exactly the problem, is the evaporators in the fish hold. And that's got electrical motor and solenoids and stuff like that. So to flood the tank would destroy that evaporator. And to remove it and then put it back in on and off throughout the year isn't feasible because you'd have to hire a refrigeration guy to come down and pump down the system and cap the lines and remove the evaporator and hull it off. The system that we're looking at is produced by IMS, that's Integrated Marine Services. They build RSW and freezer units for boats. And this is just a hatch-mounted unit that just drops right onto your hatch, and you plug it into electricity and plumb in salt water for the cooling, for the heat exchanger, and that's it, you're done. So you can take it on and off without ever having to disturb any of the refrigeration part of it.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple hookup.
Yeah.
It's your water and your electricity.
Yep.
$50 super chat from Phil McCombie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you.
$50.
Very, very generous. Thanks so much.
There was a couple of questions way
Yeah,
back up
yeah.
here about the just Kickstarter questions. So RLB asks, where does the blast freezer install?
Yeah, so these will just be a hatch-mounted system. I can probably, let me see if I can just get an image of it real quick. They're fairly small units. They're, I want to say 4 foot by 3 foot by probably 3 foot. It's a pretty small package.
It's in your Kickstarter campaign.
I don't think I have an image in there yet,
I see.
but we can just, I'll just bring the computer over there and
Daniel asks, what's the share box? Share box is basically just the term for our
Fish orders.
fish offerings.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when we offer share boxes on pre-order, we just call them share boxes. I guess it's just what we call
it's
them here.
basically just a share of our catch. So when we speak in terms of commercial fishing as deckhands, you know, you'd receive a share of the catch. You'd be paid a share of the catch. And so it's just kind of like a takeoff of that. It's like a share of our catch, and you can purchase it from us. And so that's one of the things with direct market fishermen is we're only licensed to sell the fish that we physically harvest. And it's under our fishing license and our permits, and everything is recorded under that. So when you get our fish, this hasn't been commingled with other people's fish at the plant and then returned to us. And so
It's only what we catch.
it's only what we catch. So you know the history of the fish. You know who's handled it and how they've handled it, and we document all that basically through our YouTube videos.
Yes, it
And
would be
so-
raw fish, cod, and
Let me-
all of it.
Let me see if this will show up. Okay. So this is basically a hatch mount system. You can see the hatch cut out here, and it's just mounted on a removable hatch. And this is the part with your compressor, your electric motor, and all the control valves in there. Let's see. I guess the condenser is also in here. So all you have to do is just plug that in. I can probably zoom this in a bit more too. All you have to do is just plug it in, and then also pipe water into it via a hose. So it's super easy. And then if you kind of look down in here, you can see a round part with a fan. That's just like in a walk-in freezer. That would be your evaporator. And that's got an electric fan on it that blows the cold air around and removes the heat from the product and basically keeps it frozen. And so that's the part that if we were to leave the old one in our fish hold and go do crab fishing, for instance, and flood our fish hold, that unit would be destroyed. And there's no easy way to take it in and out, like I say, without having a certified refrigeration guy come down and remove the Freon or whatever refrigerant you're using in your system. They pump it down and then cut the lines and cap it, and then to reinstall it would be the reverse of that, and that's going to cost hundreds of dollars every time to do that. This you can literally unplug and disconnect the water and pull off in 5 minutes. So, and then installation is just the reverse of it. So it makes our vessel extremely versatile like that, and we can just switch right into another fishery. And some fisheries we could probably actually just leave it on there. truth be told, as long as we're not flooding our fish hold. So that's kind of what the unit looks like right there. Well, that is what the unit looks like right there.
Rose Nordsia asks, Matt, you can cut fish. Are you able to ship to Canada? And Lori Ball also wished she was able to receive our fish too. I think we did look into Canada shipping a couple of years ago, and I think it's possible, but it's also the sort of thing where we'd have to do like a trial thing, right?
Yeah,
because it's through customs and everything.
I think we would have to do a trial thing. I think that we can set it up on our website as far as the logistics of it and everything, but we just kind of need to like test it out. So maybe once we get some fish in stock and we're ready to ship some out, if you'd like to be our guinea pig, so to speak, we could give it a go. You can ask some of our customers that we're extremely good about taking care of everybody no matter the circumstances. So if things don't work out, we're going to refund your money, we're going to take care of you. We do that with all of our orders, no matter what the circumstances. If UPS loses the box, or if it shows up 4 days late and the fish is spoiled, we reship or we refund money. No questions asked, we cover it. And we've always done that for everybody because we know that a lot of people don't have access to seafood, and it's kind of a special deal, a special occasion for them, or they're trying to stock up and kind of have some food security. And so we really want to make sure that our customers are always satisfied and happy no matter the circumstance. We rarely ever get refunded from UPS or FedEx when we use them. They always seem to find a way to weasel out of their obligations of not getting it there on time or in good shape. But that's just kind of the risk that we take. And
we want you to come back. We appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want me to share the Kickstarter link
It's.
in the comments?
I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it here in a while. I think I gotta fiddle with it a little bit more.
Okay,
First.
just to notify me on lunch one.
Oh yeah, you could do that one. So
Okay.
yeah, so there is, if guys want to kind of like get on the list, so to speak, for the Kickstarter, there is a pre-launch page, and if you want to sign up or just get notified for that, that would really be helpful. Just like YouTube or any other social media account, there's algorithms that look at, you know, how many people are backing a project or tuning in and things like that, and that kind of helps drive traffic to it.
Yeah, I just posted a link in the chat, so.
Yeah, that'd be super helpful if you guys want to just get notified of the launch of the product or of the project. And then, like I say here, this evening I'll probably put a link in to where you can just see. It's a pre-launch page, but it gives the breakdown of everything. Kind of our bio, our history of our fishing operation, what we're doing with the Kickstarter, why, and then also the reward tiers. So basically, what you get is a backer for backing a project. So, and it's not the official launch of it. It's a pre-launch, but there's also a comment section. So if you guys have some different ideas and you want to throw them in there, then we can take a look at that and maybe improve some aspects of it or make some changes or maybe add to it, things like that.
Yeah.
And that'd be super helpful feedback for us. So, Rick, our jig hooks are big enough that they shouldn't fall through the deck. On this boat, we are definitely going to get some ramps set up. We've always wanted to on the fishtail. It's just a little bit hard to like figure out how to manage it, and we just haven't got around to it. But we are definitely going to have some ramps on this vessel to where when we bring up the fish, the hooks and the fish are contained in a ramp, which will allow us to shake them off easier, to bleed them, just kind of sliding everything and reduce the amount of bending that we do, because I know we get a lot of concerned comments about that.
Yeah.
We do a lot of bending, we do handle the fish a lot. It's hard not to on a smaller vessel, but this one is big enough that we can put some ramps to just kind of flow our fish to where they need to go. And that's going to be really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be really, really nice because our backs do get tired, I'm not going to lie.
Well, we're super excited. We're going to be doing more lives for you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in today and hanging out with us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
fun.
been fun.
Fun live stream.
Yeah.
We've gone over an hour now, and if you're still with us, thank you so much.
What's Scott say? Okay. So our quota, most of the fisheries that we're in are called open access fisheries or limited entry fisheries. So in terms of like the rockfish and cod quota here, that's a state managed open access fishery, which means anybody can go buy a permit. If you're a resident, it costs $75 to get a permit. You take your boat out, you go fish. In Alaska, we don't need captain's licenses to run a vessel if it's under, I believe, 100 ton, or maybe it's 50 ton. But so anybody can just go jump in a boat and go drive around up here. We don't have boat licenses. We don't have vessel licenses in that regard. Salmon is a limited entry fishery where you have to buy a permit from an existing fisherman that owns one. The Kodiak salmon seine permits run about $25,000 right now. And then every year you have to renew your permit, which is, I believe, $75 for that one. And that's just an annual to get your permit card and to be registered to fish. That is also, it's a limited entry fishery, but it's not quota based. So when the fishery opens, everybody is competing for the fish, and when, that quota is met, or salmon's different, it's based on escapements, so fish that get up in the river to spawn. If those escapements have been met, they just open up the fishery. In the meantime, a lot of them are just time-based, so they'll be open for 48 hours or 96 hours or 105 hours. They have openers, and it'll open on a certain day, and then it'll close, and then you wait a few days, and they'll reassess the stock run and see where things are, and it'll open again, and that happens throughout the whole summer. And so that's kind of just like boats competing against each other. There's no individual quota for each boat, and that's also the same with rockfish and cod. There's just an overall quota, and when that quota has been met, they shut the fishery down. Halibut and sablefish or black cod are IFQ fisheries. That means individual fishing quota, where the permit holder owns the rights to harvest that fish. We have to buy that right, and you have to purchase it from another person. And like any good fisheries management, these quotas have to fluctuate. As stocks rise, the quota that we can harvest goes up, and as stocks fall, our quota goes down. We bought our halibut IFQs about 12 years ago, I think, and at that time we had purchased what amounted to be about 8,000 pounds of fish we could harvest that year. That quota is now down to 3,000 pounds. And so Alaska is very, very proactive in managing our fisheries. It's based on science. Politics do creep their way in to some extent on the state level, but nothing like the federal level. But it's really science-based management. They do an extremely good job. There is run failures. A lot of times it's not due to mismanagement, but more to due to variables like climate change, weather change, changing weather patterns, distribution of stocks, things like that. But they do a very good job for the most part of managing our fisheries, and we're very proud to be involved in wild sustainable fisheries like that. And so that's kind of the difference of the quotas. I guess your actual question is if we've never been able to harvest our quota for halibut, I guess. Yeah, we have come up short before. It hurts. It hurts when it happens. Sometimes it gets late into the year and the weather's horrendous. The fishing dries up. The fish tend to move offshore for halibut during that time of year. And it's heartburn. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts to come up short. So, so what else we got going on here?
I suppose before it gets too late into the live stream here, we should probably show the people around a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess we're gonna give you guys a bit of a boat tour.
We'll bring you guys inside there. You'll have to excuse the mess. It's an ongoing project, so I don't know if we should bring you down below as far as into the engine room. You might lose connection down there, so I think we'll just keep you in the cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll maybe we'll do a little follow-up video on that and show you the engine room. Maybe try to link back to when we first got the boat. It was an absolute disaster down there.
Yeah.
It's so much better. Things are going to be really nice when they're completely finished, but it's a different world down there now.
I'll let you take this, Dad, since you know how to use it.
So yeah, Scott, like we say, there's not actually a captain's license that we need to run our vessels. All you need is a permit, and Matt just buys a permit. So for like cod and rockfish, it's called a miscellaneous finfish permit. It's $75. Anyone can buy one. Tristan gets his. Instead of buying a crew license, he can just buy the actual fishing permit. And then even as a crewman, as long as you have that permit for whatever fishery, you can use it for whatever. So he can buy a miscellaneous finfish permit, and it also is the same as having a commercial crewman license. And so he can engage in any commercial fishery as long as he has that commercial fishing permit for any fishery in Alaska.
Richard Staley asks, so when you are done with the update changes on the boat, are you going to remove the shade top? I think it's talking about the tarp, yeah? Yeah, I think we're going to get rid of that when we're done, right?
If we're not processing, that will probably come off. The one in the back right here is called a hay rack or a shelter deck. That'll probably stay on for halibut, rockfish, and cod. Believe it or not, it's nice to have when it's windy and rainy. It gets you out of the weather a little bit. When it's sunny here, it tends to be hot. Like 70 degrees is really hot for us, especially if we're working. And so it's nice to have it and get out of the sun. It's also better for the fish. They're not laying there getting dried out, sun beating down on them until we get around to putting them down. So yeah, so it'll come on and off.
Yep. ETA on the inaugural fishing trip. Troy Carlos asks, I guess short answer when it's done, but hopefully the next month or two we should be hopefully working that way for some jigging action. Kathy, love your videos. Keep up the good work. Donate toward your freezing. Thank you very much. Lynn, sorry I'm late. I took a nap. Hey, I don't blame you. So I'll show you guys around here. Dad can kind of narrate. These are buckets of, they're sealed buckets of hydraulic fluid. So
yeah, so all this is going in our new hydraulic tank down below. We just have a couple little things to do to it to get it securely mounted so it doesn't fly around when it's rough out. And these will all go down there. We think it's going to hold about 50 gallons, so 10 of these buckets for that. There's a couple other ones that are just empty that we use for oil changes, things like that. All this other junk is basically coming off. This is our heater that I was talking about. It's just forced air. It's pretty gross inside. It's been eating a lot of fiberglass dust over the last 2 years. It's a lifesaver, I'll tell you that.
That's for sure.
Got a thermostat on it, just like a regular house, so you can set the heat in here. You can walk away, leave it unattended. It's just exhausting out the top and through the side, and then it blows the hot air out the bottom here. These are very common in mobile homes, especially in Alaska. That's what this came from, was an old mobile home. So that will go, all this junk will go. Of course, you know, all the white and blue tarps will go. So this will all be open to the air. Argon bottle, that'll go home. That's to weld aluminum. Just our junk over here. Compressor, vacuum, miscellaneous stuff.
Project
So
stuff.
We're actually starting to like gather all this stuff off and start moving it off the boat. We're pretty well done with it. There's not a whole lot to do left on
Oh yeah, I
that.
guess we should show the deck first before we go in, huh?
Yeah, up forward here, there's no deck. I think that we're gonna leave it this way for now.
Oops, hold on, guys.
I think that we're gonna leave it and just block this off so fish can't get underneath. The reason is that I'm afraid that if it's up at the same level, when you come in and out of the cabin, right now you step down, so, you know, I don't hit my head. My boys hit their heads once in a while. But if it's right here and then you're stepping out, you're almost guaranteed to smash your head on the stuff every time. So I think we're gonna leave it that way, and then it'll also make it a little more comfortable over here on the rail when we're hauling halibut gear. You're a little bit closer to the water. Whoever's kind of the main person, the rail man we call him, the one that controls the vessel and the speed of the long line reel and then clips the hooks. Puts them a little bit lower to the water, so it's a little easier to reach down and gaff fish, grab hooks, etc. So I think we're going to leave this at this level for now. Other than that, we'll put a layer of decking down, but it's going to stay low. It'll just be right down on the deck, I think. This, of course, is the main fish hold, the hatch for it. You can see that it came out real nice and flush. Matt actually had to go in there and put a shim on that one and the back one, which was pretty annoying because they were too low. Just kind of the way things worked out with the deck. This is where we can go into open and close it. You may notice that this manhole looks a little bit different than everything else. Simple reason is this is the one from the fishtail. So we made it exactly the same, just because. So this is a really easy operation right here. It's got a main bolt to tighten it. It has an arm underneath, and this hits against dogs down here. So you slide it in, and then you turn it, and that arm swings and hits a dog right here. So that way, when you tighten it, the arm doesn't spin around and around and around. So it's very easy to open and close and get into. I don't know if we have any good way to light it up down there without it.
The flashlight.
Does the flashlight make it flicker?
Maybe, but
Maybe not.
it'll probably show it. Yeah, I just made you mod cable guy. Thank you.
The fish hold is all completely done now. We have tanked this vessel down. It sits in the water beautifully. It drops about 14 inches, which still puts our rub rails really where they should be. Pretty much just drops down evenly, the bow and the stern. It doesn't go down stern heavy or anything. And so, yeah, it turned out real good. There's a little bit of water down there from when we did tank down, but you can see our hatches right there. They work flawlessly, just like they're supposed to. They're basically the same as this one up here on the hatch as far as the way that they dog with the arm underneath. It just pulls up against the bottom of that shaft alley. There's a silicone gasket in there that compresses when you tighten that main nut down or that main bolt. Completely 100% leak free. Everything worked really good.
Hold on, guys.
Is it going crazy on you?
Yeah. Gotta get the gimbal back into alignment, I guess.
I think our existing deck here is probably at about 95% complete now. We just have a couple of things to finish up on this back one, but everything is completely lined out, cut, fit, drilled. It has been bolted. We just had to put in a couple of little aluminum stanchions in these corners right here. And then we're bolting it from the outside in, and then the center
Gimbal's
deck
going
board.
crazy. One sec, Dad. There we go.
Is it trying to track?
Nah, it was just going weird.
Oh. Yeah, so we just have this last one in here. The reason that we had all these boards off is that we have this thin strip of aluminum that kind of transitions from this plate on the inside to the bulwark, which is on the outside. So the fiberglass bulwark right here is in between. And so we're just welding all this out. So we removed the deck board so we don't melt it, because it will melt. And so yeah, we just have that last piece to put in here, and then we can get everything bolted down permanently for the last time. Everything is pretty much all welded on the outside here. Got a little bit to do underneath some of the cap rails on the inside and outside. Weather's being persnickety and not letting me finish it up. We'll get to it soon. What else we got going on? That'll pretty much do it for these rails, other than getting, I should say, pretty much do it for these bulwarks, other than getting rails put on.
I just wanted to say, it's kind of a spoiler alert. The videos will be coming.
Yeah.
It is a spoiler alert. Like I say, if you saw the last video, you know that this is not what it looks like.
Yeah.
So right here is one of our removable hatches. We have one in the very back where we have a square access hatch for our lazarette. And you can see the two holes right there. And then of course all these boards on the rest of it. And we'll just show you real quick. We designed these so they kind of look like the deck, but still be very easy to get into. Just stick your fingies in there and open it up. And now we can access our tankage compartment. This is where our aft fuel tanks and our water tank are. These are the fill ports for our fuel tanks right here. That's for the port side. That's for the starboard side. And then our fill for our water tank is right here. It's a little bit tricky to get into, but before it was just one of those plastic hatches, deck hatches that break and leak and sink boats. And so it had to go.
Yep.
And
Didn't like that.
Now it's just a raised one with a regular bronze fill for water.
Yeah, Scott, we can walk under the canopy. I have about an inch and a half to spare over my head, between my head and the top of that brace there. So, yep.
Yeah, we raised it up so we'd make sure the guys don't hit their heads.
Yep.
We had a shelter deck on the fishtail at one time. Matt hit his head on it a lot. When we built it, he was much shorter than he is now.
Yep. I've always been pretty tall, 6'2". I don't know why, but it's not always a great thing on a small boat.
So that's kind of it for the deck. Of course, we don't have any fishing gear out here or anything yet. And just a bunch of miscellaneous junk scattered around still. But it's come a long ways. It's really transformed itself. And
Yeah.
it feels good to be at the finish line on this.
Eric Lawrence asked if we could ship to Tennessee, and yes, we can ship to Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there was also
we ship all over. Yeah, and for those folks in Canada that have been asking, we do intend to get that figured out. There's just a few little logistics to work out as far as like the import fees and stuff like that. And then of course, I don't think that there's any problem shipping overnight. From what I understand, both FedEx and UPS have the same service into Canada as they do elsewhere. And from the looks of it, I think the the shipping cost is comparable to the rest of the U.S. too. So we're going to work on that and see what we can do.
Yeah, Phil McCumbee, East Coast shipment, a small shipment, probably be around $100 shipping and handling.
Yeah, so a 15-pound box is generally anywhere from 90 to maybe 110. It depends. If you're out in the boonies, that's when it's like the 110. If you're in a bigger metropolis area or close to the hub, then it's a little bit less. It's just kind of that extra handling charge, I guess.
Yep.
Whenever folks shop on our website and you're curious about shipping price, all you have to do is just add the product to your cart and then go to my cart. It'll take you to, it's not the checkout page, it's just the cart page, and you can enter your address. Well, it's really just city, state, zip code, and it'll give you real-time shipping cost. So it's nice and easy. You don't have to put in your email address or anything like that to get to that screen. So it's super nice because, I shop online too, and I always find it annoying that I have to put in my email address just to get a shipping charge on something or go halfway through the checkout process. This one, just go to your cart and you'll be able to enter that info and get real-time shipping information and options. One big thing, if you live anywhere that Alaska Air Cargo flies and you want more than just a small box, say you want a larger shipment, we can also utilize their services. We can ship up to 80 pounds for like $120.
Yep.
If you're shipping 15 or 20 pounds, you might as well just go through UPS and have it delivered to your door because it's going to be about the same. But for anything over about 50 pounds, it's a huge money saver. Actually, probably anything over 30 pounds. You're definitely ahead.
Yeah.
So if you're in any of those areas, feel free to reach out and we can always ship it that way.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to go pick it up, but you'll save some money on shipping.
Scott, I think we have our P.O. box in our bio, if I recall correctly, for anyone interested.
Yeah, but we can give it to you too, I guess. It's
Yeah, either
easy.
way.
It's P.O. Box 1970, Kodiak, Alaska, 99615. And yeah, it should be in our bio, and also if you go to our store page, eisalaska.com, it should be at the bottom, contact page. So.
Yeah, and just on another note on the store, of course, everything shows sold out right now. So we will be sure to give you guys an update when we do get stuff in store. Whoop. Huh?
Oh, there's a question way back from
Let's see.
it was
Scrolling through comments. Stand by, folks.
Yeah, Lynn asks, will T be more involved with the fishing process on EI? Good question. I hope so. I was,
Whoa. Hold on.
Both of
You
us,
lose your train of
hopefully.
thought.
yeah, so on the fishtail, I was like trying to get more involved with jigging. I was actually manning the machine. Because before that, I was just like the bleeder guy, like on the back deck, and that's still like mostly what I do. But yeah, I'm trying to get more involved.
Yeah. Tristan is a huge help on long lining too. Of course, he gets set on the kind of menial tasks like stripping bait and pinning hooks, but I am trying to give him some rail time, or gonna try and give him some rail time this year. So that he can do some of those actions.
So I can work harder.
Yeah, it's kind of like hard to let go of duties, but I should definitely give him more rail time.
Yeah.
Glenn
here.
Copeland, $20 super chat. Best of luck with the new boat. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, same here. I gotta start stepping aside. I just want to be the guy that's back there gutting fish and baiting hooks.
Yeah, yeah. And on that note, I suppose I did get the question about whether I'm going to be captain or not, and definitely it will happen for sure at some point or another when dad and mom are more ready to just kind of step back. I'll be there to step up. So
I'll probably just keep fishing the little boat if I do, if we are ever split up. But you know, even the thought or concept of that is just really weird because we fished together for so long as a family, and to work with your children for this long and then be faced with like splitting up and having your own crew to deal with and not the guys that you trust and know so well that
And love.
yeah, it's really foreign. You know, crews can be fickle and it can be tough to get a crew and a good crew, ones that you don't have to constantly, you know, bark at or nitpick or needle to get their job done. That's one thing that we don't have to do on here is that when something needs to be done, someone just does it. It doesn't, you know, we don't have to remind ourselves to, you know, go clean those fish or put this over there or, you know, batten stuff down because the weather's gonna be bad. It's
yeah,
just
we
done.
all know our duties, and it's all just done.
And, you know, if I don't do it, Matt does it, or Anita does it, or Tristan does it, or it just gets done, and that's really nice. And so it's kind of weird to think about actually having a crew and
That's not gonna happen for a long time now. That, no.
I think the biggest thing is that I would just miss fishing with
Yeah, I agree. It's
you know,
like you
if-
say,
if
we've been
Matt and
fishing
Tristan are
together
over
for
here
so
and we're
long.
over there. I just miss fishing with them.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll just be one big happy family on here.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess we'll go show you guys inside the cabin there. Coming up on 2 hours here, so.
I can't believe you guys have hung in for so long.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you
Amazing.
guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your support, for your questions, for your super chats, your donations. It's really overwhelming, and we're just, you know, we're so thankful to have such a great receptive audience on our channel and the support that we've gotten from you guys as viewers and as Patreons and as customers. It really is. It's just a wonderful thing. And this is exactly why we started a YouTube channel and also started to direct market our fish. Because before, all we would ever do was just pull up to the cannery, they'd send some guys down, they'd unload our fish, we'd get a check a day or two later, and we'd go out again. That was it. We didn't know where that fish went. We didn't know if it was enjoyed or not.
And now we do. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's one of the greatest things about this whole thing. So thank you all for hanging in there with us,
Thank
hanging
you
out.
guys.
Yeah, thanks guys.
So I guess we'll go check out the cabin here
We were going
for the 5th time.
sidetracked for only 20 minutes.
Oh, you want to give the tour, Mom?
Yeah, show us that cabin door is unstuck. Was it this one or the one on the fishtail? The fishtail one gets sticky.
The fishtail one gets stuck. Yeah.
This one
Swells
when
up.
we first got it was like swollen.
Okay,
Oh,
guys.
yeah,
So
we had to-
right.
don't mind the mess in here.
Yeah, we had to clean down.
Got some supplies left. So over here in the corner, that would be the day bunk over there, under all that project stuff. Down there, power tools.
That's our little power tool storage area.
Yep. Coming forward, here's the table. Not too much stuff on it. Cindy, yeah, she didn't want to give the tour today. Too shy. So, not really a whole lot different in here. Everything's just kind of torn apart still. Not too badly. We need to get these electronics back together. Waiting on just putting the antenna up into the mast. Reconnect our fish finder lead. Had to snip it to pull it through a bulkhead. Let's see. We have a new circuit breaker that we'll be putting in at some point for just replacing some of these old ones. Captain's seat is currently out on deck. It would usually be right here.
Captain's seat that's been kicking around for 2 years.
Yep.
In the most clunky spots.
And over here, the galley
The life
area,
blood
I
of
guess. Yeah, the
coffee.
sink and the the coffee, absolutely. Yep.
Gotta have the coffee.
And the diesel stove there. So it's a pretty homey cabin. A little bit more than on the fishtail.
Yeah.
Future plans is to redo it and actually make it go out to the full width of the hull, because there's about 2 foot of walkway on each side, which is really just wasted space as far as we're concerned. So our ultimate plan is that we'll whale back this part of the cabin in the bow, and it essentially provides more flotation because you're enclosing that space, you're making it part of your cabin, and so that's a good thing. And then of course you're gaining all that extra room, which, you know, makes this area right here a little bit bigger, so you don't have to bump against everybody when you're trying to get in and out, and be a little more comfortable for seating.
Yep.
And larger bunk.
Right here, the center channel is where the exhaust comes through to, and that kind of really breaks up the area. So
Yeah,
there's not really a whole lot we can do about that.
that'll get changed eventually. We'll probably move the exhaust back. It's a little bit tricky on this because our fish hole actually extends into the cabin, which makes it a little harder to run stuff that would normally come out on the deck, like hydraulic lines and water lines and stuff like that. We have to kind of like route them through the cabin, maybe through the head or underneath the bunk here. So that's a little problematic, but that'll, one of the things, changing the cabin design and whale backing it, pushing it out to the sides, that'll help alleviate some of that. And also this, we'll eventually get rid of this single round mast, and we'll go to what is called a freestanding mast, which is essentially a rectangle aluminum that comes up, and your booms and everything on your mast is off of it. It's bolted down to the deck. It's very stable. You can get rid of some of the guy lines that we have now that help support your mast, and that's where you'll route your exhaust for your generator and your main through also. And so it kind of, it eliminates this, it moves it back, it cleans up a lot of stuff. So those are big plans down the road.
Yeah,
year,
probably several years.
2, 3, 4, 10, who knows?
I think
Yep.
someone asked if this house was gonna get changed.
It will, yeah.
Yeah.
This house it's a nice house, but it is incredibly overbuilt, and
We need a
we know
top house.
that we can change the dimensions of it. We can widen it up. We'll put on a top house, which is, I don't know if you look over like at the guys over here should be able to see like the salmon barrier, the killicack. If you look out the window, and same with the fishtail, we'll put a small top house on it, not a full width one or full length one, but something, you know, so you have a second level to drive from. And that's really nice because then folks can be down here. If you're traveling at night, you don't really want lights on. So if you're cooking or doing other things down here, it's distracting to have that hitting the windows. It ruins your night vision. If you have a top house, then you're just away from all that, and you just have your area up there. Everybody can hang out down here and do whatever, watch the tube or cook or clean,
Yep.
things like that. So it's kind of nice to have that separation, and it's a little quieter up there. And so that will be the eventual
Long-term
layout
goal. Yep.
of this, is when we redo a cabin and have a top house incorporated into it. And that'll just add a little more space, a little more comfort.
Straw Carpenter says, looks like my living room remodel.
A work in progress.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a comfy boat. It's not quite as Spartan as the fishtail. It is definitely a lot more comfortable. a little more user friendly. We've got a shower. We've got hot water on here. So that, all that stuff is real nice. Yeah. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, are we about ready to close up here?
Yeah, let her.
I'll take this here. Want to go out there or in here?
Did you give him
Oh,
a view of
here?
that side?
I did.
Yeah, wherever. Yeah.
It's nice and warm in here.
Yeah.
We turned the furnace off because
I
it was
got
kind of
chilly.
loud.
I think somebody asked if we were going to name the vessel Fishtail 2, but nope, it's the Emerald Isle. We have the vinyl on the bow now. I don't know if we... Is that in a video?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We showed.
And then...
We didn't show applying it, but I showed it. I walked up there and showed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is the one for the stern. So it's ready to go. Not sure, we might end up splitting this and putting the aisle below here. And then same thing with Kodiak AK below it. I think that's probably what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I
Because
think so.
this will take up a pretty good chunk of the stern, but there's the vinyl. So that'll be nice to, we just have a little bit of welding to finish up out there, and then we'll put this on the aluminum, and that'll finish that project up. So
We're getting there. We're getting there, guys and gals.
Yep.
yeah, cool. Oh yeah, we have a
got it?
fridge too
Oh,
on here.
No, I just wanted to see comments.
I got you.
Final comment.
Try and get you guys oriented correctly here.
Is that just like a solid stream of hearts? What's going on there?
I don't know what's up with that.
Just like loves or what?
Ask her.
Can I have mods if I like and sub?
Timothy Waterworth, how much school does Junior have left? If you're talking about me, I'm out of school. I just turned 21 yesterday.
Yep, our boy is an adult now.
Yeah. All right, well, guess wrap her up here, huh?
Yeah, watch your back.
Thank you, Doug. We enjoyed it too. We really appreciate that everybody that came along, all our longtime viewers and supporters and new-time viewers and supporters.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, joining us on our momentous first ever live stream.
Yeah, it seemed like it went pretty good. We'll definitely work on the audio for next time. That one caught us off guard, but we'll get that sorted out and hopefully have a little bit better audio. And hopefully, I think things will go real smooth and we can start doing some live stream when we're actually fishing. And so you'll just be seeing us catch your fish and hopefully fillet your fish and freeze your fish and pack it up and ship it.
Hopefully the cameraman brushes up on his skills a little bit.
Yep. So, yeah, thank you everybody for coming along on this journey, and we do appreciate your support and wish you all well.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Yep, thanks guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Yep.
See ya.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the belated birthday wishes. And no college.
And all the super chats, too.
Yeah, thank you all the super chats as well.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you guys.
great day. Thank you guys.